Last week when we were on, we did have a teenager in our group meet, and she did explain to us a lot of things that we don't see as parents. And she also explained a lot of things that we don't necessarily see in the school system, and then how they're being taught. She gave us some powerful messages, and that sometimes as parents we don't receive things. But it was very enlightening. I hope the viewers do get a chance to see that. And we were also speaking again about self-love. And it's like Ms. Dora said, it's like when they're teenagers, they do go astray. Regardless of where their home life is. For Miss Felicia Blakely, she did not have the love of her mother. She did not have the love of the father. To me, what I gathered from the movie, she was looking for love in all the wrong places. Dino was the very first guy that showed her that much time and attention, and even the small things he gave her matter because no one even had given her small things. The first guy that she did meet that she had a child by, it was a simple teenage relationship. You know, we hook up, I tell you nice things, but Dino was the one that, regardless of what, he kept coming around. He kept showing the love and affection, and I don't think she understood what love was. I did see an interview where she did from a jailhouse interview, and she was pretty much talking about the hold that a pimp has on a female. And she also did it into reference, like she see now so many young girls coming in that don't have a pimp. But when you're in a relationship and you don't understand love, she was also speaking on how you're a boyfriend, or like even girls, you know, they have girlfriends, how much power they can have over your mind and you don't realize it. Because the only thing that you're focused on is the love that you have for them, but you do not see the lack of love they have for you. It's to a point of ownership. They love you enough till they get in your mind until they own you. And hers is a sad story because hers ended in death, and she has a life sentence that she's away from her child. The movie didn't speak on a lot of things. We did find out that she entered jail. She was 19 years old. They found out she was HIV positive. Like I said, she did get a full life sentence. And it's a sad story. And if no one ever watched TV1, the thing that highlighted to me, because I always watch the show when it says For My Man. And they also have a one on there now called For My Woman. And we do see how people give up so much for love. And I think these conversations are important because we have to get to a point in this society, as we were saying last week. Right is right and wrong is wrong. We have to get to a point where we teach it's okay to have self-love. It's not selfish having self-love. But we have to get to a point where we understand the difference between love, lust, and also ownership. We have to learn how to build each other up where our self-esteem is not so low where we settle for everything. I also have Miss Belinda. She's here with me, and I want to ask her a question because she has a young daughter as well. On our way on our trip, we were also speaking about the things that we try to tell our daughters. Belinda, if you had a daughter and she was in a situation, what is the powerful message that you think that you can tell your daughter to teach her about self-love? Hey, you guys, Coretta really put me on the spot because I wasn't planning on speaking at all because I didn't know that but she put me on the spot. We talked a lot on our trip, so I always, I tell my daughter I love her all the time. I do things for her. I show her things. I tell her not to just jump in people. She's only 14, so it's early, but I'm starting now because girls start young anyway. Don't give yourself totally, completely to a guy. Don't let him fill your head up with just anything. Love yourself. Don't give yourself away. Don't get caught up for a boy. But just showing them things, showing them love from a mother, from a father point of view, so they won't just solely depend on the guy. Coretta, she told me an interesting thing while we was driving, how she do for her daughters and what she showed her daughter. Little simple things like taking them to a nice restaurant or taking them to a game or taking them on a trip to the beach or something like that. She's showing them those type of things so when a guy do come along, they won't be so fascinated by small things. Be like, okay, well, most girls, they fall for a guy because they feel like, okay, this guy does so much for me. He done showed me this. He done showed me that. But if we as parents, not just mothers, but as fathers too, if we show our daughters these small things, we take them places, we do things for them, they won't be so fascinated by what this guy has done for them, and they won't be so completely head over heels in love with them because
they'll say, okay, well, my mother has shown me this, my father has shown me this. So it's great that you, as my boyfriend or my husband or my just man in general, you're trying to do these things for me, and it's very nice. But they just won't lose themselves because of the guy, because he's doing these nice, wonderful things. They'll look at it as something positive that he's doing, but they won't let that control them. So just not to get caught up, not to lose yourself over a guy.
Okay. Leora, you have a small daughter. What's a bit of advice that you would give another mother, the things that you try to show your daughter different?
Well, I think as parents, I really agree with what Miss Doris said. She was a teenager, and as a parent, I have an obligation and a responsibility to try to create an environment where my daughter can thrive. When I think about this young lady's story, Felicia Blakely, she was working in a strip club, and she was a teenager in a strip club. And then, coming across a pimp, it was a fast life for a teenager, you know. So I think that as a parent, it is important to me that my daughter is in a safe environment, as safe as I can make it, for her. And where I can do that same thing all of you guys are saying, where you're just pouring life into your children. And if they know you love them and they can see a really, really accurate picture of what love looks like, not necessarily, where you just don't feel wanted or whatever her issues, may have been. I don't know what her mother's issues could have been, but it really, really runs deep. And of course, we never know what our children are going to do. We just try to equip them with the necessary tools so that they can make the right decision. And if they're in a place, which all of us have been, and if we haven't, we will be in a place where we're forced to make a decision, where we can make some wise decisions, especially as it relates to, working in strip clubs, getting involved. And this is a fast life with a pimp. And her story involves domestic violence. Her story involves human trafficking. It's a really, really, really fast-paced life. Her story was.
Okay, Miss Doris, what do you think would be because I know you have worked in the education field as well. What do you think would be the best advice that you would give someone regarding a situation like that?
Only thing I can say, and I've said to young girls, remember your parents' teaching. Remember everything they told you. Now, every situation will be different. So you have to make different choices, and you got to be able to be a thinker and make sure that your choice that you make, you remember everything that you do have consequences, and let them know that you must be able, I hope you are able to withstand the consequence, live through the consequence of the choice that you make. In today's world, the world is ever changing. It's getting worse and worse and worse. And a lot of times that what we teach our children, it's seen in this kind of world won't be enough to sustain it. It's tough. It's tough on the young. It's tough on the grown mind, and it's even tougher on the younger mind. And they're going to face some things that they never seen before. And they're going to face some things that we never taught them before, because we can only teach them what we know or what we experience, and talk a little about the things we have heard or someone have told us. Some things we have heard or what people told us, we can't tell them what they need to do, because that wasn't our experience. That was somebody else's experience. But we just hoping and praying that they make the right sound decision not just for the short term, but look down the road for the long term of it, how it's gonna affect in the long term, and that their morals, they don't give up their moral standards or their morals belief for the world standards. They hold on to what is good, what is right, and it always. And I said, first and foremost, we always teach them about the love of God and Jesus, to get that instilled in them, because that now, more than ever, they're going to have to know that God is on their side. He's the same God today, yesterday, and forevermore. And we can say all these worldly things, but we need to instill in them the love of God, let them know who God is, and the same God who delivered the Hebrew boys, raised Lazarus from the dead, called Jehoshaphat to win the battle, is the same God that's gonna do it again and again and again and again for us. And sometimes it don't play out the way we want it to play out. And that you got to let them know. It don't always play out. Even though we trust God, it don't always play out the way we want to, but it always plays out for the good.
Powerful. I wholeheartedly agree. I was also in this. You have a lot of guys that comment, and I had one guy that said one of the biggest things that he sees the issue with the world today is, instead of us trying to change the world, we try to change with the world. We try to do what's trending. You don't have mothers anymore. You have friends. You don't have fathers anymore. You have visitors. He was like, the problem with coming in the world today is nobody wants to be parents. I'm trying to and high five whatever my children do, and I'm trying to make their wrongs right instead of punishing them for their wrongs. And I think he served a powerful message, because it resonated to me, because I started in the school system. I started a lot in the school system. So my plight was being in that school system, and, Leora was right there beside me doing some things. I tried to show them love, but I also tried to show them, as you did say earlier, Doris, everything is not going to go your way. You may want an A, but sometimes you're not going to get that A. That A makes you feel good, but that A is not going to follow you all your life. And I know it's something simple as that, but you have kids that go hard. They'll try to manipulate you, do certain things because that A makes them feel great, because they feel like they accomplished something. But at the end of the day, they'll learn something from that B and why they didn't get that A, because it's something that you need to master more, or you just have to be okay with it, because nothing in life is going to go our way. And the Bible is a strong foundation. I don't care how much we try to deter from the Bible, if we see things that are going on now. And I even had a whole class lesson where I taught the kids the Bible, because some of them don't get that at home, because the Bible is not trending anymore. Even when you find even with the older people, I have had some older women and men give me terrible advice because you wanted to tell me something that made you look good versus what God made you look good. And we were having a conversation like that at work. So it's like, as a woman, I had to unlearn some things, because I am a reflection of my daughter. Whatever I do is going to be a reflection of them. And we always say, well, kids don't do as we say, they do as we do. So I try to be a replica of that, because at the end of the day, I'm their mom and I'm accountable for them. But I do think we need to get back to Christian leadership. I do think we need to get back to the point of like, no, wrong is wrong. I love you enough to say that you're wrong, and I'm not going to uphold you in that wrong, because that's your choice. That's your consequences. And I'm not going to be there to make it okay or wipe the slate clean for you. You have to deal with that, because you have to learn how to face consequences. And unfortunately for Miss Felicia Blakely, even though she didn't have that strong foundation of love, now she's at a point, and she even admitted it, she's learning from her consequences, because at one point, the only thing she could see was the love I had for this man. And regardless of what, he was going to find a way to make it okay. And she was trying to make things okay for him. But now she's learning from her consequences, because he's not there anymore. And if you read even more articles, they were even saying that at some point in her life where she didn't even have a strong educational background, her mother even did certain parts of speaking, and she admitted to the things that she failed in her life. Her father was never around from the beginning. He was always absent. And as the young girl spoke last week on the book club, she even said that we expect kids to know certain things when they come to school, but a lot of them do not know because they don't have that at home. They don't see it. And as Leora pointed out then, we can Google and find a lot of things, but if that's not what's trending and if that's not what we're looking for, that's not what the girls are going to go looking for. KQ, do you have any input? Oh, I'm sorry. What did you say, Ms. Doris?
And as a parent, you can do your very, very best. But your child, you got to remember, children gonna grow up and they got their own mind. And they're gonna do what they want to do. They're gonna experience, even though you can tell them, you can warn them, but sometimes they're gonna do what they're gonna do. And it has nothing to do with how you taught them or their upbringing. It's not on you, because a lot of parents feel that it's on them. My child, if I had did this, some things, it doesn't matter what you do or how you do it or what you say or how you say it. A person gonna grow up to do what they want to do and find their own way in life. You know, I know Felicia, she fell in love with Robert. I think the first guy, the one that her child's father, she loved him. And I think the difference with Robert and Dino flashed that money. And he bought her a lot of things. He bought her just purse, shoes, clothes, stuff she always wanted. He bought her that. But I don't believe they knew. I don't know what in the movie nobody said anything about her age. You know, girl, you just 16, you're a child. Nobody said anything about her age. And then at 16, your mind is not that mature that when you start speaking, you can detect if a person is how old they are. So I guess it really didn't matter, because she wanted to do what she wanted to do. And even if somebody had told her not, her friend girls showed her about how much money she could make. Dino showed her that bankroll that she didn't take the time to learn nothing about him, where he was getting it from. Because I think if it was an older woman, she would have knew. When she saw him come in, she knew what he did. She didn't. He just thought there was somebody paying attention to her. So, like I said, it don't matter what you do or what you say. You just pray that your teaching, they remember your teaching, and you hold fast to your teaching and pray that, Lord, I pray my teaching, what I taught them, will hold up some kind of way.
That's true. That's true. All right, you guys. We hope that you do watch the movie. Oh yeah, and also, KQ, do you have any input? Because I know you had also watched the movie early on.
Well, KQ had to log off. I just wanted to say, I wanted to just kind of echo some of what Ms. Doris said as it relates to, our children and doing the best that we can to prepare them. She's exactly right. And those mistakes that we make, we adults, we made mistakes, in our process of growing and learning. And it's all a part of the process, and I completely agree, that you just pray that they make the right decision, and equipping them with the tools to survive, and the rest they're going to learn. They're going to learn in the process. And the wonderful thing about learning is it continues. It does not end. You could be 100 years old and you're still learning and growing, and you're being enlightened to new information, so I think that especially having these type of conversations, these Zooms. So if someone by chance have an opportunity to run across them, then they'll be enlightened to the information and reminded that there are consequences for everything that we do. I mean, it can be positive, the most beautiful result of your action, or it can be horrible, and it can look a whole lot like Felicia Blakely's story, but I saw in an interview where she gave glory to God that she has a place through the media now to be a light, you know. So, and she's using her experience to enlighten, to encourage young ladies, because she was a teenager. She really was. You know, when she got into this fast life.
And I wholeheartedly agree, because, and as parents, we sometimes beat ourselves up. And as she said, saying, well, I wish I could have did this and I wish I could have did that. But if you know in your heart and you tried your best to teach them the right thing, the Bible says, train your child the way that they should go so they won't depart from it. Not meaning they won't. And as parents, sometimes we do try too hard, or sometimes as parents, we have to be honest, sometimes we don't try. But as in life, we have to learn. And to be honest, we have to unlearn some things, because some things in life we were taught wrong. Some things in life our parents did their best and they was taught great. But we have to get to a point where we are still trying to teach the right things, regardless of whatever the world is turning into, because money is not everything. We have to teach our children that money is not everything. Sometimes what you truly need in life is to be kind, to be humble, to be gentle, and to love yourself enough to know no matter what you got, what you're driving, how you're living, it's enough for you, because that's what you are blessed with. Because sometimes people have less than that. And I think that's the morals we need to start putting back out there, because Felicia was young, and Dino did come in and show her a lot of different things that she didn't have. And I think her story did turn out beautifully toward the end, because that's what she's doing now. She's shedding a light, showing girls, look where I am, because I failed myself because I didn't pay attention to this and I didn't pay attention to that. This is what I was focused on. And she said when they're coming in, y'all, she is trying to teach them better. She has a lot of books out there where she's trying to educate young women and young men. We're focusing on the women, but we also have young men that get lost as well. And sometimes they know better and they just don't do better, and sometimes they don't know. But as women and as men out here, we have to try to continue to teach, whether they listen or not, because at least, like we said the last time, they have that outlet where they do have a plethora of information where they can go find it. Because you have so much information out here telling them, oh, it's okay to strip. It's okay to be in your bag. It's okay to chase your money. It's okay to do this. And you have to have those voices saying, no, it's not okay. It's other ways that you can make money. It's other ways where you can do this. It's other ways. And we have to be wise enough to have that wisdom to try to teach them that, because we made mistakes. We failed at a lot of things. And the beautiful thing about God is we get another day to try to learn better, to do better, to teach someone else better. Because that's what life is about, learning and teaching and learning from our mistakes. My father always used to tell me, and when I was young, oh, trust me, I had my hard-headed teenage years, and he stood in the kitchen and he looked me in my eyes and he was like, as a father, the thing that I never wanted my daughters to do was to learn things on their own, especially when you have a man trying to teach you better. He said, but I'm going to tell you, just like my mama told me, he said, Coretta, a wise man is going to learn from the mistakes of others, because you see the mistakes that the others are making, so you want better for yourself. He said, but a fool is always going to learn from his own mistakes. He said, but I was young and I was a fool. He said, but I'm man enough to tell you, just not as a father, but as a man, I don't want you to be a fool, but I know you got to learn that on your own. And every time that sticks with me, and it always has stuck with me. And I told my class the same thing. Every day when I walked into my classroom, I put something on the board. But the first thing I ever taught all of my classes, power. Never give anyone the power over you, because God gave you your own unique power. So if anyone is listening, I don't care if it's money, whatever, never give anyone the power over your life, because they didn't give you life. God gave you life. Do not give anyone so much power over your life to make you have those bad decisions, to make you chase dreams strictly for money, to make you do things because the car is nicer or the bank account is better. Because at the end of the day, it's choices and it's consequences that come with all of that. None of us are perfect, and I am still learning. So I'm telling you here now, as a woman, being young, being old, whatever, I still have foolish decisions, but I'm learning better because I want to teach my kids better. Where they're going to go in life, I don't know. But what I do know, I pray daily because I want better for them. I don't want them to have a future where they so confused and they don't know any better. And that's the motive of this book club. I don't want to teach anyone the narrative or certain things are okay. I want the narrative to be of this book club. Wrong is wrong. And no one in life can correct your wrongs. Someone is not going to always be there to save you. You're going to make mistakes, but learn from them. do better, be wiser, try to be stronger, because we are here, especially as African American people, because someone made that choice to die so we can live. Someone made those hard and tough decisions so we can be better. Because without that, if they didn't make certain choices and sacrifices, we'll still be begging and asking for a seat at that table. Does anyone have anything else to say before we log off?
I want to say, just
Okay.
make sure all your choices make sure the choices that you make, you can live with the consequences.
All right, thank you guys. And you heard that. Make sure you can always live with your consequences. And that is true. You guys have a great rest of your night. Thank you for logging on. Please, if you have not seen the movie, watch the movie. Ms. Blakely also has books out there where she's trying to reach out to the community at large. Thank you guys so much. This is the Table for Queens. See you all next week. Have a great night.